guide my day, open my heart to live your way. Teach me to hear your voice, open my mind to the freedom of choice. Spirit, guide my day, open my heart to live your way. Teach me to hear your voice, open my mind to the freedom of choice. Spirit, guide my day, open my heart to live your way. Teach me to hear your voice, open my mind to the freedom of choice. Spirit.
Hello, and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Santa Rosa virtual service. I am Tara Steele, the community minister. If this is your first time with us, we are so glad you are here. You can find out more about our teaching, The Science of Mind, as well as our classes and other programs on our website, www.cslsr.org. I also appreciate those of you who have become regulars in this virtual format. With your presence, we create spiritual community. We are inspired by a global vision of a world that works for everyone. Here is this month's excerpt of that vision. We see a world in which humanity awakens to its spiritual magnificence and discovers the creative power of thought. Our message today is brought to us by someone who has been one of our favorite speakers. Since he moved to the East Coast, we haven't seen him as much as we would like. Thanks to the miracle of the internet, we can present again Dr. Chris Michaels. For those of you who have not yet met Dr. Chris, he is a national speaker and author. He founded the Center for Spiritual Living in Kansas City, Missouri in 1990 and has served as spiritual director for over 20 years. As an educator and counselor, he has helped thousands of people understand the basic spiritual principles that govern our lives. With over 2 decades of study into the spiritual nature of life, Dr. Chris is a leading authority on the new spirituality movement. He is the author of Your Soul's Assignment and his new book, The Power of You, available at bookstores nationwide or on Amazon.com. Along with speaking engagements at conferences, churches, and special events nationwide, Dr. Chris was a guest on Martha Stewart Living, heard on Sirius Satellite Radio. His weekly radio show, Healing Your Life with Dr. Chris Michaels, is offered via podcast with iTunes.com. In 2013, over 105,000 people downloaded his spiritual lessons from 95 different countries around the world. View his website at chrismichaels.net. Dr. Chris's topic today is A Bigger Universe, a Greater God. As we move into the service, I know that somewhere in the prayer, the music, the message is exactly what your heart seeks for the next step in your spiritual journey. I invite you to become fully present, breathing in, breathing out, opening to the good. Welcome.
So if there's anything that I want you to have in your heart right now, as we go through all this, what we're all going through, it's this message right here. In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am, letting fear and worry just fall away from me. I open my heart and I can see there is only love. There is only love, sweet love. It's a love that can heal. Love will set us free. There is only love. And when I lose myself in those times when it seems like I have lost my way, I go inside and I quiet this chattering mind. I can hear spirits say, sing with me now, there is only love. There is only love. It's a love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love. There is only there is only love. There is only love. It's a love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love. Sing it out. There is only there is only love, love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love. There is only love. Just love. Right now, that's what we gotta do. Just love. Love yourself. Love your family. Love. 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 Let's just keep loving each other. Thanks for listening.
I take a breath and bring my attention to that deep place of knowing. And it is from here that I recognize that there is one power for goodness, one divine presence, one love guiding and holding and protecting, supporting and nurturing all of creation. This love is everywhere present, within, around, and through all that is. And I am one with that love. We are one with that love. Each one of us, a precious thread in the divine tapestry of the one life. Each thread, a brilliant, unique, interconnected, intertwined, and essential part of this divine tapestry. Each thread and all the ways we are woven around one another, a perfect, brilliant, divine creation. And each thread is essential in this tapestry. Without one thread, the tapestry would be incomplete. We are one love. I accept today for this service a deeper and deeper understanding of our oneness. I open to the way in which divinity speaks through each person participating here. Divinity speaking to and listening to its own precious self. They celebrate the way this service facilitates a higher and higher consciousness, both individually and collectively, a deeper understanding of our oneness. And it is with this remembering today that brings me great gratitude, awe, peace, and joy. And with that awe and gratitude, I simply release this word to the creative medium that simply says yes. And so it is. Hello, I'm Krista McAtee, a prayer practitioner at the Center. Here's today's affirmation from our Beyond 2020 Spiritual Vision Book of Affirmations. Life takes place as a constant flow of goodness. There is a natural rhythm of giving and receiving, a spontaneous outpouring of love and unity.
Hi everyone, namaste.
Namaste.
We're so happy to be able to share this song with you that so many of you at Center for Spiritual Living know. This is an anthem for our times about freeing ourselves, about liberation, evolution, and ultimately love. Love for all, love for life, love for all beings. So here we go. Now is the time when
sweetness of your love. I surrender, I remember the light and the beauty that I am. Here is the place where I fall into grace and we listen to the sweetness of your love. I surrender, I remember the light and the beauty that I am. This is the day when I throw it all away into the fire of the all-loving one. Oh, now I have just what I need to be free, to feel who I really am. Oh, this is the day when I throw it all away into the fire of the all-loving one. Oh, now I have just what I need to be free, to feel who I really am. Who I
You know, I am a big lover of poets. I think poets have an insight into spiritual wisdom that sometimes our theologians miss. And one of my favorite poets is Hafez. He's a 14th century Persian mystic. And Hafez wrote this. He said, "Beware of the tiny gods that frightened men create." I don't know whether you know this or not or are aware of it, but something's happening in our world today. A cultural war is raging across continents, and it's causing all kinds of upheaval. What is really happening is we are growing out of our tiny gods. They are too small for our modern world. Morals and customs are colliding. Political systems are failing. Global economics are rapidly fluctuating, and the change is happening faster and faster and faster, and no one is immune. And this kind of quick and fast cultural change, we will always rear the ugly head of religious fundamentalists and fanatics. People who want to put the brakes on our progress and through brute force try to force us back into some kind of 1950s Pleasantville, America idea that they remember as ideal, except it wasn't ideal, it was rotten at the core and not sustainable. In his book, Unthink, Eric Wall said, if the rate of change on the outside exceeds the rate of change on the inside, the end is near. That means if you are not changing on the inside, if you are not growing in your awareness of your connection to the source of life, if you're not becoming more compassionate and loving, then all of this rapid social, political, and cultural change will bring you to a breaking point, and very soon you will find yourself living in a world you can't understand, angry and bitter that things are changing faster than you can keep up. We must adapt. We must grow in consciousness or get left behind in the dust. The cultural war is forcing us to come face to face with our flaws, with our judgment, with our prejudices about other religions and races. It is shrinking literally the world and cramming us all together, where we are either going to have to learn to treat each other as holy and sacred beings, to love each other as one people on one planet governed by one love, or destroy ourselves and the society we built along with us. History is littered with great societies who've done just that. Empires that have reached this same point in their evolution, ones that have built a rich and vast culture only to have it brought down by small-mindedness and fear. So don't think it can't happen again. History has a tendency to repeat itself, doesn't it? There is, however, a way for us to avoid this fate, and it starts with an idea of a greater God. If you believe in a tiny God who dictates morality through some rigid doctrine, who pleasures himself by judging others, you'll be just like him, petty and small-minded. You get it that we create God in our own image, not the other way around. So loving people have a God of love, one who prefers acceptance over judgment. Judgmental people worship a God of rules and regulations because they need to be right and make others wrong. And so their God punishes people with eternal torture, not even a little bit, but eternal torture and the big fry daddy. Peaceful people sit with their God in silence and balance, and naturalists see God's beauty and presence in nature and convene with the spirit that lives in the land and the sea, like Native Americans did. The truth is, as a people, we can rise no higher than our vision of the creator and sustainer of all life. If we believe in a God who loves some and hates others, our own lives will be divided. If we believe in a God who's unpredictable and mysterious, who loves us one day and destroys us the next, one who punishes some and rewards others, then we will live in fear for our own lives. This is also true for all of us collectively as nations and societies. If the God of one society is considered to be the one and only right one, it makes it easy to go to war with other nations and rationalize killing because, after all, it's God ordained. As radical Muslims would say, it's jihad. Christians have a long history of doing that as well, my friend. They even wrote songs about it. Onward, Christian soldiers, marching off to war. By the way, Christian soldier is an oxymoron. No one who really understands the teachings of Christ could rationalize the mass killing of others in his name. I saw a Facebook post recently that reminded us of the true author of our religions. It said Jesus was not a Christian. Muhammad was not a Muslim. Buddha was not a Buddhist. Religion is a human invention, and like all human invention, it has serious flaws. So here's the thing. After literally billions of people practicing their religions for thousands of years, we still don't have peace in the world. We still have 1% of the world controlling 99% of the wealth. We still have major religious denominations like the Methodists did this week trying to deny access to God's love to LGBTQ people. Wait, what? You get to vote on whether I'm acceptable to God? I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't care how you vote. So I say it's time for the old man in the sky to die. He's primitive, he's outdated. We desperately need to update our operating system when it comes to our Creator. We need a God 2.0. And I happen to have the free update for you today. You don't need to download it on your phone. I've got the God 2.0 right here with you. Here it is, God 2.0. God is a power that knows no limit and a love that has no condition. It's not a person, it's a presence. God is an artist, a poet, a lover. It is the creator of beauty and the sustainer of life in every shape and form. God is the genius and masterful creator that imagines a unique and different design for every single snowflake that has ever fallen on the planet and a new DNA for every person who's ever been born. God is a masterful genius, a perfect intelligence, and a perfect lover. My history has not been good. I used to hate that word, God. I couldn't stand to hear anybody say it. Oh, please don't say that word. Because all it conjured up in my mind was judgment and condemnation. And I saw so many self-proclaimed religious and rightful people use their religion against other people that I loved. The God that I was sold in my childhood religion was petty, judgmental, and mean. And so I thought to myself, I'm not going to waste my time worshiping some God who's not even sure he likes me. Call me when you decide, And I'm damn sure not going to give my money to a church that teaches a doctrine of, well, you just wait and see and behave now and maybe later he'll approve of you. So I rejected religion completely and gave up on God. That's it. But what I realized when I was in my early 20s and trying to live without some spiritual substance in my life and failing is that I threw the baby out with the bathwater. When I found my way to CSL, I fell in love again. I love the idea of God as a power for good at work in our lives. I love the concept of a genius artist revealing its passion in the infinite variety of life forms that it creates and sustains every day. I love the concept of God as a lover whose love is so pure and so perfect that it has no condition that has to be met in order to be received. I gave up my tiny God that frightened men had created for me, and I found a new love, and I invite you to do the same. A few years ago, I decided to plan a birthday party for my dad's 80th. He's now 89. At the time, he lived about 5 hours away from me in Kansas City. He lived in Oklahoma City, so I drove down to be with him. My sister and niece drove up from Texas, where they were living at the time. We made a big deal out of it, which surprised and elated my father. And it was a big deal, because in the past 40 years, there have only been a handful of times that I've actually visited my father. His wife was the problem. She belonged to one of those self-righteous, right-wing churches where basically anyone that doesn't believe as she does is just damned to hell forever. And it was her pettiness and her judgment of me that prevented my father and I from having a good relationship for decades and decades and decades. Every time I would visit, she was in my face, always saying things like, I can tell you're not right with the Lord. I can tell. There's not much time left, she'd say. Jesus is coming soon. And I would try every single time when I was around her to steer clear of it, to avoid the conversation about religion, because I could see her mind was closed on the subject. She was right, I was wrong, end of story. That's all there is to it. Well, the very first day of our visit passed by without any trouble whatsoever. That's because I kept the conversation to light and trivial subjects like, how about that weather? You know, it changes all the time. But then the second day it happened, right there at the breakfast table in front of my dad, my sister, my niece. She started in on me, insisting that my faith wasn't right, insisting those books you are writing are leading people away from the Lord. And so I did the kindest thing I could think of to do. I said nothing. And I got up and left the table. Now, why do you think I did that? It is not because in that moment I could see her as a perfect expression of God. I can assure you of that. Because I really wanted to tell her to shut the hell up. I left that table because I will not defend my faith. I won't waste my breath trying to explain an open-minded and an open-hearted philosophy to a closed-minded person. So the kindest thing I could do is walk away. And that's what I did. I gave to her what I wanted her to give to me. Respect for my own beliefs. And I share this story with you because I know you probably have one just like it. Someone is going to tell you what you believe is wrong. They might even condemn you to hell. And if they do, please do not argue with them. Don't try to convince them to believe as you do. Respect their faith. Respect it. And ask them to respect yours. And if they can't, walk away. Interesting thing happened. A few years later, I went back to visit my dad again. This time it was because his wife passed away. And so I went to the funeral because my dad was very heartbroken. He loved this woman. And I sat and I listened to the preacher tell the story of what a good Christian woman she was. And I listened to several people, one after another, get up and testify to all the good and all the love that she had brought to their lives. And it saddened me. It saddened me because I never got to see that side of her. I wish she had given me something more than her own judgment. After the funeral, her daughter, my stepsister, came up to me and said, well, she's with the Lord now. And I said, I guess she is. Where else would she be? I'm just saying, you don't know. I don't know whether you've ever thought of this or not, but when devout Christians pass on, Jesus is there to greet them. When Muslims die, they see Muhammad. When Buddhists expire, the Buddha greets them. God becomes to us what we can embrace the most. The lover assumes whatever form we can accept and understand. It is a new month, and that means we have a new book of the month. This one is by a brilliant and humble author named Chris Michaels. Very humble man. You should take his workshop on humility. It's fantastic. It's the best workshop ever. So this is what I wrote in The Power of You, the 7 what ifs, and I want to leave it with you today. Number 1, what if God isn't mad at you? What if God isn't a judgmental old man recording everything you do wrong? What if the Creator's only desire is for you to be fully expressed in love and joy? What if your life has a purpose and a reason? What if you have a talent that no one else in the world can possess? What if the universe is friendly and there's absolutely nothing operating against you? And last but not least, what if your personal happiness and fulfillment in life is dependent upon nothing outside of you? Camera back on me. Listen to me. Don't let anyone take your faith from you. Respect others' differences. It's what makes life interesting, but what you hold dear and true, you stick to it. Emerson said, "My life is not an apology, but a life." Never apologize for who God created you to be, as you are right now. You are celebrated and loved by God. And so ends the lesson.
It's now the time in our service for our offering. It's the time when I have the opportunity to thank you for the wonderful ways you continue to support our center in this time. Your financial support and those sweet, sweet notes of appreciation, emails, voicemails, notes with your checks. Thank you for each and every one of them. They support and inspire us in so many ways. As we move into listening to the music for this time of reflection on all that we give and receive, I invite you to close your eyes for a moment and go within to notice all those many gifts and blessings that are coming your way, and the generous spirit with which you respond in gratitude and giving. Acknowledging both that giving and receiving, let's say these words, repeating after me. I bless this gift. I send it forth to heal and prosper. It does wonderful work in the world. And so it is. Thank you again for all that you do and all that you are.
What would I do if I knew I could not fail? If I believed, would the wind always fill up my sail? How far could I go? What could I achieve? Trusting the hero in me. If I were brave, I'd walk the razor's edge, where fools and dreamers dare to tread. Never lose faith, even when losing my way. What step would I take today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What if we're all meant to do what we secretly dream? What would you do if you knew you could have anything? Like the mighty oak sleeps in the heart of a seed, are there miracles in you and me? If I were brave, I'd walk the razor's edge, where fools and dreamers dare to tread. Never lose faith, even when losing my way. What steps would I take today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? If I refuse to listen to the voice of fear, would the voice of courage whisper in my ear? If I were brave, I'd walk the razor's edge, where fools and dreamers dare to tread. Never lose faith, even when losing my way. What step would I take today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave?
It's time for our community announcements. Everything I'm sharing with you and more is found on our website, www.cslsr.org. Under Services, you'll find the Sunday Bulletin filled with details and links. Online registration is now open for our fall classes. There is a wonderful variety of classes on core teachings as well as enrichment topics. I'm excited to be bringing back visioning as a daytime class. You can find details and register on the website. Weekly and monthly small groups continue to meet online. You can find out more in the online bulletin, and here are some highlights. Full Circle, a facilitated conversation about death and dying, is today at 1 p.m. Today's discussion is taking stock in our lives. At tonight's Sunday evening conversation, practitioner Maggie Cole asks, "Are we there yet?" There is a very special lunchtime learning program on Wednesdays in August and early September. Youth and Family Director Susan Robinson and I will lead a self-inquiry process based on Layla Saad's book, Me and White Supremacy. In working with this book, I have found that not only did I learn more about my enculturated racism, I also learned more about patterns in other parts of my life. Our website has more details on this book study, including how to pre-register. You are welcome to invite friends, colleagues, and family members who are ready to do this work. Have you been coming to the center for a while and want to find out more about becoming a member? Dr. Edward is leading a new member orientation on Sunday, August 23rd, starting at 1 p.m. Did you know there is free, confidential prayer right after our service? Now you do. To receive prayer, leave at the end of this broadcast and go to the special link for after-service prayer. The prayer practitioners arrive a bit before the service ends and settle in. They look forward to welcoming you and praying with you. It will make their day and yours. Thank you for being a part of this spiritual community.
Good morning. My name is Chandra Farnsworth, and I'm speaking to you today as a member of the Giving Intention team. Every year at this time, we ask our congregants to nominate a nonprofit to become one of our nonprofit partners for the upcoming year. Do you have a nonprofit organization that is near and dear to your heart? Perhaps an organization you have benefited from personally and that has shared values with your spiritual community. This year, we are especially interested in considering organizations that focus on racial equity and social justice. We have created an online nomination form, which can be found at www.cslsr.org under Sunday Links. We look forward to receiving your nominations during the month of August, with the deadline being August 31st. During the month of September, the Giving Intention team will be reviewing and vetting the nominations. We will then make our recommendations for our 12 2021 nonprofit partners to the Board of Trustees for their approval. We thank you in advance for taking the time to make your nominations. This program is long-standing and well-supported at the Center for Spiritual Living Santa Rosa because it reflects our values of circulation, support for the community, and creating a world that works for everyone. We will be announcing our 2021 nonprofit partners in October. So I thank you very much, and I send you many, many blessings.
Please join me in saying these words. If they are not yet familiar, please simply take them in. Something wonderful is happening through me right now. It is this thing called life. Life is in my mind, life is in my body, and life is in my affairs. I think it, I feel it, and I accept it. Just the way that it is, and just the way that it is not. Thank you, life. Know with me that you are never alone. That spirit is right where you are. That in any moment you simply have to look within to know that you are guarded and guided and sustained by a presence that expresses its love through your love in the world. Let us live accordingly, that in everything that we do and say and think, we honor this presence within. And so it is. Remember, there's after service prayer where the practitioners eagerly await you. And thank you again for your presence.
1, 2, 1, 2. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life and my